Hello my fellow flight simmers, welcome back to a new video. It's Thursday again and it's time for a new Microsoft Flight Simulator development update from May 14th. Big news for alpha testers, for those of you that are alpha testers. The 747-8 is now cleared for takeoff. The new alpha build 3 is now released, so for those of you alpha testers, get downloading now. Hopefully the download times and speeds are good. There isn't any huge updates for those of you that aren't alpha testers, unfortunately. So, but it will be a short one for you guys. But there's huge updates to the alpha build, and we'll just skim some important things. For the time being, the May 28th episode 8 IFR videos seems to be they're still shooting for the release of May 28th. This hasn't changed either. The partnership series update should be expected during early June. So for the time being, nothing changed in that aspect. Once again, Alpha 3 has been released. It's called Build 1.3. Build 1.3.90. Biggest part, obviously, the 747 has been released. Has tons and tons of issues. I've already read through all of this. I'm not gonna read every single one to you guys. You can go ahead to go to the flightsimulator.com website and take your time and read it if you guys are interested. But yeah, there's tons of, obviously this is, a pretty raw version of the plane, and that's why we're here to test it and make it better and give them feedback. So as you can see, the list is pretty long. There's pretty big significant updates. I'll get testing this myself tomorrow. I live in Europe, so it's pretty late now, and I still have to download the alpha build update. The A320 seems to have gotten a little bit of love as well, and there's quite a few improvements, which I'll start testing tomorrow. One of the ones I'm most interested was the few things to do with the CDU, or the MCDU, whatever it's called in Airbus. Also, let's see if I can find it real quick. Something with the flaring behavior. This one was a pretty big one for me. Also, I'm interested in the rotation during takeoff to see if it's behaving correctly as well. So I'll be testing that, and a few updates for the TBM. I haven't been testing this plane as often as I was during December, January, but I'll test these things out. A few updates for a few of the other planes. General changes. I'll go over these. The ice is no longer remaining on aircraft once the aircraft is outside of the what would be icing conditions. So the ice should see, one of the problems with alpha, the planes would go into flight icing conditions, and once you were out of them, and if you were landing, it was like 30 degrees Celsius, that is, the ice would still be on the aircraft, which shouldn't be happening, obviously. The scale of the G1000 VFR map has been addressed. I have to check for that because I don't remember the scale was incorrect or not. The increasing pitch oscillations leading to crash or stall a plane on autopilot no longer occur. I know a lot of people were having this issue. I wasn't, so I'm glad for those people that are having that problem. It has been corrected. There's tons of airport specific changes to this one, so I'm quite happy about that. We're going to start testing more airports. They mentioned this since last alpha build, more than 7,600 generic airports have been updated and improved. This goes with taxiways logic and visuals, surface types on airport runways, taxiways, aprons, etc. Aircraft parking spots. Tons of changes. So They've also made a few improvements to specific airports, so that's good. And then for bug fixes, stability, several fixes for crashes have been implemented. The game no longer crashes when placing external panel out of the screen. You know, just specific situations where there would be crashes. There should be, I didn't take notice of this the first time I read it, but memory use and FPS improvements, that's always always nice to read, and good thing to see that it keeps being optimized even though it runs pretty well. Airports, once again, specific airports have been improved. Some of these were better than the generic ones, but they did have some little things that have to be fixed. Flight model, several aircraft now feel better to fly when using FSX flight model. At the time being, I've only tested the new flight model. I haven't tested the older one. I'm not too interested, but if they're expecting us to test it, I'll give that a try. A few fixes for the multiplayer, and for peripherals, tons of little bug fixes and changes. For the UI user interface, there seems to be a few fixes as well. For weather, this is a good one. Several weather improvements. We don't know specifically which ones, but it's always weather implementation and weather representation. Flight simulators, very important thing in the flight sim, obviously. And any of you that fly in the real world would know that as well. For fixes on the world, worked on trees overlapping with buildings. This was a big issue in the last alpha build. There was just way too many trees and overlapping with buildings. Service vehicle driver animations have been improved. Next thing, guys, alpha invitations, they're being sent starting today. So they're making sure that everyone received an accepted email has access to alpha, and they're trying to prioritize access for those that register early for the pre-release build testing. So seems to be they're putting a lot of focus on the SDK update for those developers. I am not a developer, so I do not know too much about the SDK just yet. So any of you that are interested in reading this, just remember to go to the flightsimulator.com website. No changes that I can make up of the development roadmap. Everything seems to be the same since last week's update, so that's always nice to see. And remember to hit that subscribe button to stay notified and get my latest videos, especially the Microsoft Flight Simulator development updates. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.